Hello again. This is Mr. Villar, and I am very happy to welcome you to your fourth virtual lesson from the English department at Yeshiva Keter. Yes, believe it or not, this is our fourth lesson by this means. I really hope that you're actually believing in this, because this is another way in which we can get in touch and that we can keep learning. Unfortunately, this is the only way, because I really hope that all this time not seeing each other has been sufficient for us to take all the safety measures that we need. I also hope that you have a good Pesach festivity, or as we say also, a good Passover festivity. Today, we will be catching up with our learnings in Unit 5. Remember that you need to revise the previous structures. So this is the last thing we're going to see from Unit 5, which was all about flights and the history of aviation and so on. And we saw two very important grammar structures referring to the past. One of them being the past perfect simple, that is the example, the train had left when we arrived at the station. Okay, here we can see that one action happened first and then the other. The action that occurred first has to be expressed in the past perfect, that is, had and the past participle, had left. So it means that first the train left and then we arrived at the station. But if we want to make it together, then it's the train had left when we arrived at the station. The past perfect progressive, on the other hand, is confirmed by had, been, and the ing form of the verb that we choose, or the verb that we need to express. The example is, she had been waiting for an hour when her children came out. That is, that we're not explaining what happened first and then another one. We're talking about how much time, the length of time that an action took place before another occurred. She had been waiting for an hour when her children came out. Okay. I really hope that it was already well explained. Otherwise, you can contact me or you can ask any questions, and I will be very pleased to even call you at home so that I can clarify all the possible doubts that you might have. But now, the following topic that we're going to see in Unit 6 is about adverbs of manner. That sounds very strange, but in order to understand that more clearly, we will have to make a difference with adjectives and adverbs. So, an adjective describes a noun. What is a noun? In Spanish is sustantivo, cosas o personas. An adjective describes a noun. Example, a big house. House is the noun, big is the adjective. So we're describing a big house. Please note that we usually have the adjective before the noun. A fast car, an intelligent boy, and that is not. So we describe a noun through an adjective, whereas mientras que an adverb has three functions. It can describe an adjective. For example here, I feel incredibly tired. What does that mean? Tired is an adjective, cansado. Incredibly is how tired. Increíblemente cansado. Me siento increíblemente cansado. So, I feel incredibly tired. Incredibly is the adverb. It can also describe another adverb. For example, we all talked terribly slowly. Slowly says how we walked. And terribly is how slowly we did it. We all walked terribly slowly. Caminamos terriblemente lento. And finally, an adverb describes an action. So it describes how an action is performed. He shouted loudly is how he shouted. We notice here that when an adverb describes how an action is performed, it is called adverb of manner. It is usually formed by adding ly at the end of an adjective. For example, slow. It's a slow car. Slowly. He drives slowly. That is the adverb. It's different, you notice? Terrible, terribly. So we have, they had a terrible accident. They suffered terribly. I'm sorry, this is a very pessimistic example, but sometimes it is easier for us to remember when it's something like negative. I hope we will not have this type of examples again. Okay, but it's for you to understand. Now, so here we're going to have this little activity in which you will be able to make a difference between whether it is an adjective or an adverb. Careful, carefully. Okay, so take a look at the first picture, and then there is a man helping two little children cross the street, and then the poster says, "Be careful and stay safe." And the sentence says, "They are careful children," because what we're describing is the noun children. And then the following one says, "He is driving carefully." We're not describing the man, we're describing how he drives. He is driving carefully, you understand? So careful here. So we have careful children, adjective, driving carefully, adverb. Easy, easily. It is an easy sum. 3 plus 3 equals C. Of course, that is very easy. It's an easy sum. And then take a look at the girl in the picture. She is doing her homework. How? Easily, because she knows it, because she's intelligent, because she studies a lot, because she pays attention to the teacher. So she does it easily, with no difficulty. Fast, fast. Okay, this is a very good moment for us to know that not all the adverbs will end ly. There will be some that we call irregular adverbs, and this is one of them. And the irregular is that it's the same adjective and adverb. Leopard or cheetah, or yes, cheetah, is a fast animal. Okay, so we're describing fast as an adjective, animal. We're describing the animal. And in the second example, we have he is typing fast. Here we're describing how he types, but we have the same for both. Happy, happily. The boy is happy. Take a look at his face, and there is no doubt that he is happy. So take a look at the second picture, and we have an action there. What are the children doing? They are playing. How? Children are playing happily. We are describing the action. Hard, hard. Minor is a hard job. Here we have, with this one in particular, this is another irregular adjective, but this is very particular because it's a little bit confusing. El de minero es un trabajo duro o difícil, más bien. Hard job. It's the same as difficult. He is working hard. Okay, here with the same word, we're describing how he works, not a noun. And what it happens here, he's working hard. Está trabajando afanosamente o simplemente está trabajando mucho. loud, loudly. A loud noise, we're describing the noise. They are laughing loudly. How they are laughing. Quiet, quietly. Elsie is a quiet girl. We are describing the girl with an adjective. They are reading quietly. We are describing the action, how they read. Good, well. Good job. Okay, we're describing a job. They are singing well. Now, maybe you will hear when you travel to the United States or somewhere that some people can say they sing good. Okay, one thing is that people say that, and one thing different that it's correct. It is not correct to say they are singing good. The correct form is they are singing well. Okay, now let's have this little activity for you to be able. I'm going to give you a few seconds for you to think before, okay? Before you choose, and then you will realize whether you were right or wrong. It says, they planned their holidays in Spain very. We're not describing Spain, we're not describing they, we are describing how they planned the holidays. So, yes, the correct answer is they planned their holidays in Spain very carefully. My sister is a girl. She is friendly with everyone. What are we describing? Are we describing a noun or are we describing an action? Of course, my sister is a nice girl. I don't want to go with him. He drives too. So think, if you actually don't want to go with someone, it's because you are afraid. Could you be afraid of going with somebody who drives well? Of course not. I don't want to go with him. He drives too fast. He can crash. Okay? They could see the movie because they finished the work very. Please think. Attention. Are we describing a person or are we describing how an action was done? Of course, we are describing how they finished. They could see the movie because they finished the work very quickly. Think about this one. I'm not going to read it for you. What are we describing here? Are we describing the dancers or are we describing how they dance? Yes, they dance really well. Remember that you can hear some people say they dance really good, but that doesn't mean that it's correct. The way in which we have to learn it is the correct form. They dance really well. Please turn the radio down. It's too. Of course, we're not describing The sound, we are describing the radio. So it's too loud. Okay? This bus is too, we will be late for school. So think, what am I describing? Of course, I'm describing the bus. So there is no other than the bus is too slow. The dog is, he can't stand a hungry cat. Are we describing the dog, or are we describing an action from the dog? If we're not describing any action, of course, the answer is this dog is angry, enojado, furioso. I can't hear her. She speaks to, okay, here, it's very clear what we're describing. We're describing an action. So what two letters are related with an action? Of course, ly. So she speaks too quietly. This street is too noisy. I am getting, of course, I am getting nervous. So I really hope that with these examples, you have a clear idea. Of course, we're going to continue in the following class with some more examples and something more advanced from this. In the meantime, I'm going to ask you please to do the piece of homework that I'm leaving you together with this video. Please do it carefully, thinking that this is a very good time to dedicate time to English. We will not have so much noise in the class. It's time for you to concentrate, to think that if you have any questions, very soon I will be able to contact you to answer anything. But be ready, because if I call you, I will be calling you in English. In the meantime, I really, really miss you a lot, kids. In a very short period of time, believe it or not, I have really, really been able to appreciate you greatly, to like you a lot. I know that sometimes I'm a little bit strict. Sometimes you don't like me to shout, but sometimes please understand me that it's necessary to keep a little bit of order. Okay? So please take care. Please study. Please take these classes. All the teachers, all of us are working very hard to make this possible. The school authorities are also working enormously so that you can continue your studies. I have always told you, English is very important for your life, for your future life, whether you go to Israel, whether you go to the United States, in a country where you don't speak any other language. English is important, so please take it seriously. Take care of yourselves. My greetings to your family and a big handshake, virtual handshake from here. Bye bye. See you soon.